Hey guys, it's Venom. I'm back with another Echo Arena tutorial. Sorry it's been so long since the last one I put out. This was honestly something I've been wanting to put together for a while now. I've been sitting on this footage for months, but due to VRML training, school, and other things, it's just not been something I've been able to get to until now. That being said, today's topic is probably going to be far more important than simply teaching you how to throw a disc. This is still a very basic tutorial, and if you've reached level 30 or higher, you've probably learned most of this by now, or at least have a decent understanding of the concepts. We'll call this Speed and Mobility 101. So you're a new player, maybe you found Echo Arena from some of my montages, or more likely just noticed it for free on the Oculus store and thought, hey, I'm going to try this out. So you load up the game, make it through the tutorial, and finally get to roam around the lobby. You notice the terminal computers in the middle now have the option to find a public match. And after a couple of minutes of matchmaking, you finally hear
joining match,
and you transition into an arena. About a minute of getting to know your teammates goes by, and then the doors open, you pile in, the countdown begins, and you launch out for the disc. And how in the are these guys moving so fast? Now, if you've been around the game long enough, you know that matchmaking can be a bit iffy sometimes, but if you're a new player that's found yourself on the bad side of a pair of level 50s, it's about to be one hell of a rough match. Now, don't get me wrong, these early stages are going to be brutal, but there's just a few things that you can do to adjust your playstyle that should get you on par with these guys in no time. First, we're going to talk about regrabbing. This is also known as chaining or boosting. This technique is completely unique to the sport of Echo Arena, and intentional or not, is what has really helped it grow as a team sport. So, let's break down what a regrab is. The first variation of the regrab came early on in Echo Arena's lifetime. Players realized that by grabbing onto another player and pulling off of them, they could break that 5 meter per second speed limit. Over time, players realized that by grabbing the boosted player as they flew through their body, they could increase their speed exponentially, and this became the difference between taking 20 seconds to cross the arena to just a couple of seconds. All this speed doesn't come without problems though. When done incorrectly, it can completely kill any momentum your boosting pair has. If both players make a grab for each other, the mechanics drop both of your speeds down to 0 and leave you free floating in space. This didn't take long for teams to fix, and eventually some rules to regrabbing were formed. First and foremost, the player closest to the disc should always come back to the player behind for boosting. They're also the ones who should initiate the first grab so that it doesn't kill your speed. Second, always get completely behind the player and pull straight forward. Grabbing and pulling off from the side makes it extremely difficult for the lead player to reach your body, so straight pulls are always encouraged. Third, as the lead booster, it helps to extend your hands towards your target so that your boost partner knows where to pull through. It is much easier to shrink your target down to pulling through the hands rather than just aiming for a point downfield. And lastly, communicate to your team. Things get hectic in the arena, but by calling out or listening for a teammate, it is much quicker to find them for a boost than to just start floating back and hoping to run into a teammate on the way. The next game-changing technique you need to know is Autograb. It's a very simple yet critical feature this game has to offer, yet doesn't exactly explain it. All it takes is holding down your grab button and your hands do the rest. If you're anything like I was when I first started, I was always trying to time my catches and geograbs and ended up missing more often than I should have. Basic Autograb is great for this sort of stuff, but it can be used for more advanced techniques like slaps. Slaps work on the disc, geometry, and other players. It all comes down to the timing. Making sure to release your grab as soon as you come in contact with the object. This can be used to clear the disc out of dangerous situations, it can be used to cover more space defensively in the arena, and it can be used to kill the speed of an opponent that's trying to sneak a boost off of you. After some practice, you may eventually start using this technique for slap shots, catching the goalkeeper off guard. The last thing we're going to talk about is the pro launch. This is done at the beginning of the match and often used by teams during their defensive joust. The concept is pretty simple. Instead of using the launch ring for the joust, you'll start about 3 nubs back in the tube. Your attention should be on the countdown, wait for the announcer to call out 2, and about a quarter to half second after, pull forward and initiate your regrab. The timing can be played around with a little bit. 2 seconds appears to be about the perfect time if you can hit it right, but too soon you'll find yourself hitting the door, and too late can be the fraction of a second losing the joust. I do recommend using only 2 players to do this joust, as having a third can oftentimes throw the chain out of sync or even in the wrong direction. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you'll never use the launch ring. During offensive jousts, the QB will typically launch their team off of it. The most important part about using the launch ring is that it is actually slower to hold on to it all the way to the end of the tube. It's far more effective to immediately pull off of the ring and send your teammates out to receive your pass. And that should conclude our speed and mobility tutorial. Hopefully if you are new to the sport, these new techniques will help you begin to feel more competitive in your matches. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. If this video helped, please like it. And if you really want to help me out, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks guys. Please check out VRML on Twitch. Be sure to catch some of my gameplay with Team Nova, and I'll see you in the arena.